Welcome to one of the most beautiful and fascinating road trips you can take in upstate New York. Whether you're an avid hiker looking to explore the hidden gorges filled with lush greenery and endless waterfalls, or you're just looking to unwind and check out some of the overlooks, in this video I'll share all the information you need to start your New York waterfall adventure. In the summer of 2023, I left Chicago to explore a few of the best state parks New York has to offer. Today, I want to talk to you about some of the must-see waterfalls in the Finger Lake region, share a few off-the-beaten places that I think are worthy of a visit, and share my experience with you. I begin my adventures in Letchworth State Park, known as the Grand Canyon of the East. The main attraction of this incredible state park are the many overlooks along the Genesee River Gorge looking down 600 feet, as well as the three major waterfalls one can hike to. There are two main towns to consider when looking where to stay: Portageville, right near the south entrance, and Mount Morris, which is about a 20-minute drive north. Both of these towns are fantastic choices. One of the most popular hikes in the park begins by the Portage Bridge, which crosses over the Upper Falls and follows the Genesee River to two other stunning waterfalls. This hike is around 5 miles round trip and will require you going up and down many flights of stairs. Of the three waterfalls in the park, the middle falls is wheelchair accessible and is located near the iconic Glen Inn, which is both a hotel and a gift shop. After hiking to see the three stunning waterfalls here in Letchworth State Park, I suggest hopping back in your car and driving to see some of the overlooks in the park. Some of the must-sees are the Inspiration Point, which looks back at the Upper Falls, the Great Bend Overlook, from which you can really appreciate the depth of the gorge, and finally, the Hogsback Overlook. When visiting Letchworth State Park, another place that you absolutely must visit is Stony Brook State Park. Located just 30-minute drive, this state park has endless waterfalls and cascades for you to explore. One tip I have for you that will save you a lot of energy is to skip hiking to the top of the rim and instead do an in and out until you find a good turnaround spot in the gorge. The following day, I set out to visit Watkins Glen State Park, located on the south end of one of the largest and deepest lakes in the Finger Lakes region, Seneca Lake. You will find many hotels, lodges, and campgrounds in and around the city of Watkins Glen. The main attraction here is of course Watkins Glen State Park, which in my opinion is one of the most beautiful state parks in the country. However, I also want to show you a few other worthy parks in the area that you should consider visiting. Watkins Glen is unlike any other park that you've ever been to. Home to over 20 waterfalls, cascades, and winding pathways to the gorge that will leave you speechless behind every turn. The best way to experience this park is via a 2-mile hike into the gorge. I suggest waking up early and coming to the park as soon as it opens to immerse yourselves in sounds and calmness of the waterfalls before the big afternoon crowds arrive. As you head deeper into the gorge, you'll be wowed as the walls of the gorge continue to close in on you. The most famous waterfall, the Rainbow Falls, is about a 1-mile hike into the gorge. If at all possible, I recommend coming here after a rainfall to see these falls at full display. After checking out Watkins Glen, here are a few of the waterfalls that may interest you. Within a 10-minute drive of the state park, you can go see the Chappaqua Falls, Deckertown Falls, and Eagle Cliff Falls, all of which require minimal hiking. Another 30-minute drive is perhaps one of the most underrated state parks in all of New York, the Buttermilk Falls State Park. This park is just down the road from Ithaca, New York, and in the span of 2-mile round-trip hike, you'll experience some of the prettiest waterfalls in the area without the crowds of Watkins Glen. After you're done exploring this crown jewel, you can head into Ithaca to explore many more waterfalls in and around Cornell University campus, and don't forget to visit one of the most impressive one of them all, the Ithaca Falls, which can be seen from the road. One last waterfall that you should pay a visit to in the area is the Togonock Falls, the tallest waterfall in the state of New York, even taller than the next place we're going to visit. During the last leg of my Finger Lakes region road trip, I set out to explore America's oldest state park. Established in 1885, Niagara Falls is a place one must experience at least once in their lifetime. Let's first talk about where to stay. Depending on your preference, you can opt to stay in Niagara Falls City just outside of the park on the US side or across the border in Canada. Both of these places are in close proximity to the falls, but I've been told the Canada side offers much better views. While there are countless activities and things to see in and around Niagara Falls, I'm going to tell you about some of my favorites, beginning with some of the overlooks. I suggest you begin your adventures on Goat Island. There's a large parking lot which does fill up quickly in the summertime, so be sure to come in early. Once on a Goat Island, you can hike around or simply visit the overlooks. Start with Terrapin Point and marvel as over 700,000 gallons of water pour over the edge every single second. And if you look directly across, you'll see our neighbors to the north, Canada. Just a little ways north is another spectacular overlook called the Luna Island. This tiny piece of land sits right between the Bridal Veil Falls and the almighty American Falls. From here you can look straight down and see the wooden constructed walkway known as the Cave of the Winds. And if you look straight across the American Falls, you'll see one of the best overlooks on the American side of the park called the Prospect Point. From here, you can look directly at the three waterfalls that make up Niagara Falls State Park, the Bridal Veil, American, and Horseshoe Bend Falls. One simply cannot come to Niagara Falls and not experience the Maid of the Mist cruise. The tickets cost $30 per adult and $18 per child. While it's pricey, I promise this is an experience you'll never forget. The cruise starts down below from Prospect Point. After a short elevator ride down, you'll hop on board and cruise straight into the Horseshoe Bend. Prepare to be soaked as you stand face to face with the spectacular waterfalls of Niagara Falls. After returning from the 30-minute cruise, I recommend you head over to Cave of the Wind, which is located on the Goat Island. Ticket costs $20, but be sure to check the website for opening times throughout the year. After you descend over 175 feet in an elevator to the bottom of the Bridal Veil Falls, you will arrive at the wooden walkway that takes you to the various overlooks. The finale of this hike is the Hurricane Deck, where you're up against the strong current of the falls. You can really feel the power, and this makes it one of my favorite attractions in the park, worth every penny. If you still have the energy to continue exploring Niagara Falls after all of the activities I've just shown you, then I suggest taking a stroll around the gorge. The hike starts to the north of the visitor center and takes you to the various overlooks along its way. I particularly enjoyed this hike due to its calmness and serenity I experienced. Since I had 2 full days to spend in the state park, I also crossed the border into Canada to show you guys the difference in overlooks you can expect. From the Canada side, you're looking directly at the waterfalls, which makes it quite a strong argument for Canada's side being much better. If you visit Niagara Falls in the summertime, you will be treated to quite a spectacle because at nighttime, the falls get lit up in different colors which make them quite unique. And if you visit during 4th of July weekend like I did, you'll witness the magic of fireworks in the night sky over the falls. While I may not have visited all of the waterfalls on my road trip to the Finger Lakes region, I enjoyed every place I visited as these state parks continued to amaze me day in and day out. The scenic roads I took, the people I've met along the way, and the sheer beauty of this region all made this a memorable trip. Please let me know what other places should have been on my list, and feel free to check out my more in-depth videos from each of the state parks I visited. I really hoped you enjoyed this video and that it inspired you to embark on your very own New York waterfall adventure.